tonight. Lagos State Environmental Sanitation Corps arrests 17 miscreants laying siege on the Bolade pedestrian bridge. Nigeria Agricultural Quarantine Service clamps down on food hoarders, smugglers. And the foreign in China slashes mortgage reference rates to revive property market. And in Sport AFCON 2025 preliminary round draw holds today. And now the details. I am Mike James. The Lagos State Environmental Sanitation Corps LAGESC, popularly known as SKY, has apprehended 17 miscreants found laying siege on a Bolade pedestrian bridge. Corps Marshal of the agency, Olatubosun Cole, who said this after the conclusion of the exercise, decried the recalcitrant nature of the criminal elements in the habit of lurking around pedestrian bridges with intent to dispossess pedestrians of their possessions. According to him, it is important to note that there is no hiding place for them because any hindrance identified as a threat to pedestrians' safety on bridges will be met with stiff opposition and consequences. Cole said the collaborative effort of the task force chairman, National Union of Road Transport Workers, NURTW, Oshodi Branch A, Ibrahim Olashehu, and Baba Oja of Oshodi Bolade, Sani Olarewaju, resulted in the arrest of the miscreant. Lagos State government has promised to complete a road with bridge project linking Ifako-Ijai local government area and Ojudu local government area of the state. This is in furtherance to the effort of the Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu-led administration to improve connectivity and consolidate the transportation pillar of the Themes Plus agenda. Speaking during an inspection of the project, the Permanent Secretary, Office of Infrastructure, Ayodele Shomide, said the road with bridge project, which was embarked upon to prevent flooding, improve the environmental status of the communities around, and to provide an effective bypass to traffic gridlocks, has attained 63% completion. Shomide described the road as a strategic link from College Road through Ajayi Streets, Ogba to Arno, Obawale, Ijuishaga in Ifako-Ijai local government area and Ojudu local government, saying upon completion, the project is expected to improve interconnectivity of roads within the axis. The Lagos State Domestic and Sexual Violence Agency, DSVA, has continued with its efforts in kicking sexual and gender-based violence, SGBV, out of Lagos with the sensitization of residents and community members of Agboi. In her address at the event, the Executive Secretary, Titilola Vivo Adeni, advised residents to support the fight against SGBV and all forms of violence in their various communities, stressing that the core mandate of the agency is to rid the state of domestic and sexual violence. Vivo Adeni, who was represented by the head of community engagement, Damilare Adeosi, stressed the role of the community in ensuring survivors can break the culture of silence and ensure perpetrators are held accountable. While maintaining that Agboi Kingdom should not be a hiding place for perpetrators of domestic and sexual violence, she emphasized the need to report any case directly or as a mandated reporter through the agency's toll-free line 08000 333 333. And now to the rest of the stories. The Nigeria Agricultural Quarantine Service, NAQS, has joined in clamping down on herders and smugglers of food items and other agricultural produce. As it's announced the deployment of more officers to Nigeria's land and sea borders. The service in a statement said the move is to support the federal government efforts to stabilize food prices nationwide and ensure food security in Nigeria. It said food security is a paramount concern for the Nigerian government and is committed to ensuring that agricultural commodities are not smuggled out of the country through ports and land borders. The agency's acting Comptroller General Godwin Audu has also urged the public to report any suspicious activities related to the hoarding or smuggling of agricultural commodities. He said community participation and collaboration were vital for the success of the campaign. The meeting of the federal government, the Nigerian Association of Road Transport Owners, NATO, and other stakeholders has ended with no agreement reached. The meeting was called by the government over the suspension of operations by tanker drivers who stopped lifting of petroleum product on Monday amid harsh economic realities. Minister of State for Petroleum, Heineken Lukpobiri, said the engagement will continue today as the government will not fold the terms and allow Nigerians to go through more hardship as being witnessed. NATO members had threatened shutdown all over the country over the high cost of automotive gas oil, also known as diesel, which is used to fuel their trucks for the movement of petroleum products across the country. The organized labor has begun mobilizing its members for a nationwide protest slated for February 27 and 28 over the cost of living crisis in the country. According to reports, the National Executive Council had a Zoom meeting on Friday to review the resolution of the National Action Council of the NLC and the Trade Union Congress vis-a-vis organized labor agreements with the federal government. Rising from the crucial meeting, the labor unions agreed to demand the implementation of the agreement with the federal government without further delay. It stated that if the federal government fails to fulfill its promises after the 14-day ultimatum, the labor will embark on 2-day nationwide protest. Head of Information of the NLC, Benson Ukpa, who confirmed the resolution of the meeting, said the NLC affiliates were being mobilized for the protest just as state chapters of the Congress vowed to join the nationwide demonstration. And over to some foreign news, China has announced its biggest ever reduction in the benchmark mortgage rate as authorities sought to prop up the struggling property market and broader economy. The 25 basis point cut to the 5-year loan prime rate, LPR, was the largest since the reference rate was introduced in 2019 and far more than analysts had expected. Analysts at E-House China Research and Development Institution, Yang Yuyin, said the largest interest rates cut cycle in history has begun. The cuts will directly impact the real estate sector by lowering mortgage costs. The LPR was lowered by 25 basis points to 3.95% from 4.20% previously, while the 1-year LPR was left unchanged at the 3.45%. The cut also suggests Beijing is no longer as concerned about the negative effect of lower lending rates on the currency or banks as they were last year. And then in the sports news, preliminary draw for the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations will hold today at the Confederations of African Football headquarters in Cairo, Egypt. CAF revealed this in a statement released on its official website by its communications department. According to the governing body, the draw for AFCON Morocco 2025 preliminary round is following the conclusion of the 34th edition of the competition. It stated that the preliminary round will include the 8 lowest-ranked teams according to the FIFA ranking. They are Somalia, Djibouti, Sao Tome, Chad, Mauritius, South Sudan, Liberia, and Eswatini. It stated that the draw will be conducted at 2 o'clock local time. And that was our news at 12. But just before we go, ensure the registration mark on your vehicle is clear and visible at all times. You can follow us and like all our various social media platforms: X, formerly Twitter, Lagos Traffic 961, Instagram, Lagos Traffic Radio 961. Watch us live on Facebook, Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM. And on YouTube, subscribe and watch all our previous programs and news on our channel, Traffic Radio 961. Did you know that the Sanwo-Olu administration trained 280 unemployed youths for global certification in solar farm construction technology for the supply of electricity in Nigeria? Well, you can get more details on the Lagos State Government website. And to end the news, here are the highlights of the major stories. The Lagos Environmental Sanitation Corps, LAGESC, popularly known as SKY, has apprehended 17 miscreants found laying siege on the Bolade pedestrian bridge. The Nigerian Agricultural Quarantine Service, NACS, has joined in clamping down on hoarders and smugglers of food items and other agricultural produce as it announced the deployment of more officers to Nigeria's land and sea borders. We also told you that China has announced its biggest ever reduction in the benchmark mortgage rate as authorities prop up the struggling property market and broader economy. And in sports, preliminary draw for the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations will hold today at the Confederation of African Football headquarters in Cairo, Egypt. And for contact with the newsroom, send a message to Lagos Traffic Radio at lagosstate.gov.ng. That ends the news broadcast compiled by Adirayodu Olaya. Thank you, Lagos, for listening. A beautiful Tuesday afternoon. The weather still looking pretty cloudy. I will have Micah Arocha coming for lunchtime waka in a bit. Stay here and have a wonderful time.